Komets Corner is presented by Lee's Famous Recipe.
Hey, we said it Sunday night, and we're going to say it again. Odin Tufto, this guy is tough as nails. On the wrong end of a roughing call earlier in the game, but as Shane Albahrani likes to call it, poetic justice. Odin Tufto with a shootout goal to clinch off a 3-for-3 weekend for the Komets. Can't do it any better than that. Oh, and a little embellishment on top of that, mocking the Indy Fuel celebration. What a way to wrap up a solid weekend for the Komets. And that is a great way to welcome you to your December 30th edition of Komets Corner presented by Lee's Famous Recipe. We're pulling a little e-bug here as I'm Josh A. and filling in for Glenn Marini. He is, as always, Shane Albahrani.
I am still Shane, yeah.
You are still Shane. That is very good. And Shane, there was a lot to break down from this weekend. A 3-for-3 weekend for the Komets. We'll break down all these games in just a moment. But the big overarching theme, 3 wins, 3 very different wins for the Komets.
Yeah, fantastic weekend. The Komets have now won 5 straight at home, 7 out of 8. So now they're eyeing that top spot in the Central, and it's now within reach. But no, this weekend was fantastic. You know, you sparked that rivalry with Indy now. I think you had 2 really rough games. You win coming from behind again down in Indy on Friday night, and then you got to play a Cincinnati team on Saturday that they cleaned house. They're still at the bottom of the standings, but they're still a tough team to play. They got a lot of talent. They just haven't put it together. So that game on Saturday wasn't very easy either. And then you come back Sunday. You already got tired, heavy legs. You played 3 games in less than 72 hours, and both teams came out just hitting, and it was great. It was a great old school hockey game last night, and for it to come down to Odin Tufto, like you said, who took that nasty boarding call in the second period. It's one that you go back and you look at, like, wow, that could have been a 5-minute major. Turned out to be a 2-minute. Odin had to be helped off the ice. He goes into the dressing room for a few minutes, comes back out, and scores the game-winning goal in a shootout. And like I said, it was poetic justice that Odin Tufto was the guy who scored the game winner.
For you, a guy that literally has a bird's eye view on this team, is there something you can pinpoint as far as why the Komets have been able to have this run of success? 7 of their last 8 games now that they've won?
Yeah, no, they're coming together, and even it's a great testament to the coaching staff because we're a little shorthanded right now. We got no extra bodies. You got 3 guys up in the AHL right now. You had an injury to Brandon McManus Friday night, and some illness going around. Noah Gansky, Brett Brochu all went down with the flu. So man, it's to get everyone motivated and on the same page like that was fantastic for 3 games. So kudos to the coaching staff and everybody else because they're all coming together. So they're in a really nice spot. So you're still going into another busy week. You don't know if you're going to get reinforcement. So you have what you have going into the week. So it was again a great weekend. Everyone stepped up, next man up, and that's what they did.
I would be remiss if we did not bring up Connor Unger, and he was the definition of next man up. Like you said, playing 3 games in a span of less than 72 hours, 50 hours, and the guy was just spinning on his head all night long. Crucial save after crucial save, including Sunday night, to really help the Komets pull off that shootout win over the Fuel.
Yeah, I said at the end of the broadcast last night that Connor Unger became a pro this week because he's a kid who's got a ton of talent, obviously, with Edmonton giving him an NHL contract. But coming out of college, you got a lot to learn just becoming a professional, just the speed of the game and the size of everybody who you're playing against as well. So he's been a little shaky, he's been a little up and down, and he was developing nicely. But you could see, his confidence would sometimes get shot, but then you could see the talent as well. It was there. He just had to put it all together. And now that he became the man for the weekend, it was like, it was going to be his show all weekend. And I was a little shocked that even he got to play that 3rd game because Brett Brochu came back and he was feeling better, but still not ready to go. But Connor Unger coming out and man, he just shut everybody down for 3 straight games and just a fantastic turn for him. And I really think he's really turned the corner, and I'm looking forward now to seeing what the rest of the season has for him. But I think he does need a break next week.
Yes, big time. Hey, that's a good segue because I feel like we're just going to see a Connor Unger highlight reel over the past 3 games. Let's go ahead and look back on Friday's game. Like we mentioned, the common theme in this one, 3 different games, 3 different wins for the Komets. As we look back on Friday's game, kind of a tale of 3 different periods for the Komets. They fall behind 2-0, but they find a way to flip the script over the last 40 minutes and change. Trailing 2-0, they go on to win 4-0. And it's really something we have seen from the Komets a couple of times this season where, even going back early in the season against Iowa, they dig themselves an early hole, but that doesn't deter this group.
Yeah, this team is a third-period team. They have scored the second most goals in the league in the third period. So when this team is down, I don't get really concerned because I know they've got that extra there in the third period. And going back to Friday night in Indy, we gave up 2 quick ones, but then we got, what Alex Albahrani would call just a greasy goal where it was just you put the puck on the net, Albahrani tapped it, it goes in, and then you had an absolutely beautiful goal from Michael Gilden, another guy who we pick up, who's kind of been lost. We picked him up and scored his first pro goal, but hadn't had much ice time. So it was nice to see him with the injuries and the call up to him to out there and get some solid time. And he's shown that he can play at this level. So it was nice to him to get his first pro goal. And then, you come back again in the third period and you had Connor Unger shutting him down. So it was a fantastic night all the way around.
How about a guy like Kyle Mayhew, the guy who's one of the top guys on the team as far as points totaled up, for him to get that power play goal? I know that was something, kind of a point of emphasis for the Komets, trying to improve that power play. He literally takes the load of the team on his shoulders, going coast to coast and scoring what would be that game-winning goal.
Yeah, that was a terrific goal. You're not going to see a better one by anybody in this league, as Kyle Mayhew just took matters into his own hands, sliced up the defense on the power play, and just went in and scored it himself. I think, he was like, the zone play isn't really working. Why not let me just take matters in my own hands? And he took it coast to coast, and he scored and ended up being the game-winning goal. But Kyle Mayhew, man, he is one of the most skilled defensemen at this level I've ever seen, and it's fantastic that he's in Fort Wayne, and he's just a great guy, a great personality, and he is really taken to Fort Wayne, and Fort Wayne's taken to him, and I'm glad he's here.
So once again, the final in that one, Komets win 4-2. They go on to rally. You flip the script now to Saturday. You take on a Cincinnati Cyclones team, like you mentioned, kind of clean house, worst record in the ECHL, and the Komets certainly did not let up, or they certainly did not take their opponent lightly. Kind of a defensive struggle in the early going. I was there for those first 2 periods. It felt like it was going to be one of those 1-0 games. But, man, the special teams, the power play and the penalty kill, really big time in this win.
Yeah, the power play has been struggling over the last few months. But have to get 3 power play goals in one game. It doesn't matter who you're playing against. That's still a hard thing to do. But it was a good confidence builder for the guys, getting the power play going. Because the power play, it's not like it's been bad. They really dominate when they have the puck. It's great zone play. They keep it. They've only given up one shorthanded goal, I think, this year. So to go out and have that, finally have some success was a good confidence builder. But Cincinnati, and we show the penalty shot again. Connor Unger never faced a penalty shot at the pro level, and look who he's got to face. He's got to face Justin Vive, one of the best ever. And Connor Unger, that was a huge confidence builder for him early on in that match. And Cincinnati, you can't take him lightly. We lost to him a couple weeks ago. That was a hard loss to take. So this game kind of scared me after that game in Indy, and then you're going to have him again on Sunday. We didn't forget about Cincy and took care of business.
How about for somebody like Alex Svetlikov getting the first 2 goals in that game? Feels like he's really been picking up his play lately.
Yeah, he came to the Komets, early on in the season. He had 2 big games, immediately got called right back up to Bakersfield, but hadn't really got it going since he's been back down here. But getting those 2 goals was great because he's a true talent as well. He's an AHL contracted guy, and lucky to have him. And so hopefully we'll be able to keep him a little bit, but because he does have that skill.
So Svetlikov getting 2 goals. Odin Tufto adds a goal as well. Nolan Volkin as well. We mentioned 3 power play goals. Komets killing all their penalties, I should say, and Connor Unger with 39 saves, including that penalty shot that was denied against Justin Vive. So a huge win for the Komets. So let's go ahead and fast forward now to Sunday. You kind of said this on the broadcast. It was just a weird day overall. Game got pushed back 30 minutes because one of the officials got held up in traffic on I-69. I mean, who doesn't get stuck on 69 at one point or another? So that game got pushed back to 5:30. Really physical game, kind of a trend that we saw in the Central Division. Just a bunch of scrappy games, and Sunday's game of the Jungle was no different.
Yeah, that was a playoff game, really. It really had that feel. And who knows, maybe we see these guys in the postseason. But we got a lot of games against Indy. You know, it's great to have this rivalry renewed. I think it's kind of lacked over the last couple of years. You know, this was maybe one of these games that might just set it off again. So it was a hard-hitting game, and it was, again, both teams had come in. You know, they were tired playing 3 games in less than 72 hours. So, you know, you get those Sunday games. It's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes, you know, it's like, hey, everyone is just gassed. You know, we just want to get through this. But I'll tell you what, both teams came out just scrapping. And everyone just fighting for every inch, and it was a fantastic game. And if you weren't there, feel sorry for you. It was a great game, you know, because Connor Unger was outstanding. You know, the Komets took the 2-1 lead. I didn't think that was going to be enough. Indy scored the one halfway through the third period, and we go to overtime. The Komets had a power play in overtime, unable to score, so we go to a shootout, and Connor Unger stopped everybody. You know, so including that penalty shot, you know, he's basically stopped 5 breakaways in the weekend.
It was incredible. I mean, just seeing Unger and how he performed in that game. I mean, there were 2 shots in that overtime period. It felt like the game was over. One on a breakaway opportunity, another really good, I believe it was a shorthanded opportunity for Indy, and Unger, the guy was just locked in, and again, a big reason why the Komets were able to pull out that game.
Yeah, you know, he was huge. Again, you know, he is a fantastic talent. I know some fans have been down on him just because, you know, he had some bad games, but it's going to happen. You know, he's new to the pro game. You know, Brett Brochu, you know, he had a bunch of games under his belt last year, so that's why, you know, he was a little bit more prepared coming into the season. But you see the talent that Connor Unger has, and I just hope, you know, we're able to keep him all year because there's still a possibility. Of course, you know, he gets called up to the big club at some point because he is on that NHL contract. But, you know, he's down here to play and to get his experience. You know, he's only 22 years old. So, and Brett Brochu is only 22. So the Komets have got some really, you know, young goaltending. But I'll tell you what, Brett Brochu is playing like a veteran, and Connor Unger is right now very close behind him. So I think after this weekend, you know, Jesse Kaliki is going to have some decisions because it's not clear-cut now who's the number 1. So I think it's going to be, I think, you know, Connor Unger playing those 3 games in 3 nights. I think he's earned the day off on Tuesday. I'm sure Brett Brochu will be back on New Year's Eve. But then you got another 3 games in 3 nights, 2 of them against Toledo, 1 in Toledo. So it is going to be interesting to see how the goaltender shuffling happens next weekend.
Well, just to put a bow on that game on Sunday, I mean, Jesse Kaliki kind of said it best. They want to find different ways to win games. You did that over the weekend, and he said it was really the first time that the Komets got challenged physically. I mean, it felt like it was hit after hit after hit. But what does that win against the Fuel say about this team that when they got punched, they punched right back?
Yeah, this team, he's 100% right. This was the first game that was really physical. Indy is a physical team because the teams we've played just aren't that physical. But Indy came out. I think they were pretty upset at what happened on Friday night on their home ice, and they were going to come out, and you know what, they're going to come out swinging, and they did. But this team now has shown, you know what, hey, if you want to go up and down with us, you just want to play the speed game, we can do that. If you want to mix it up, we'll accommodate you. So it shows that the Komets can play any game that you want. They've got obviously a lot of talents, a lot of skill. You know, Jack Dugan, Kyle Mayhew, and Jack Gorniak. You know, but they've got some tough customers as well. You know, Jack Dugan doesn't shy away from a fight. You know, Yannick Turcotte, unfortunately, he was not there for that game. He was in Chicago, but I'm sure he would have loved that game.
Yes, yes.
But no, you got some pretty tough customers on that team for Fort Wayne, and again, it was a great game. You know, you tip your cap to Indy. You know what? They had a lot to prove. They came out fighting. They came out hitting. You know, they were trying to get under our skin. You know, and I got to say, you know, we were quite disciplined. You know, things could have got out of hand there, but it didn't. You know, we just kept on grinding and ended up getting the win.
Well, as you alluded to, the Komets still have a lot of games on deck this week. We're in the middle of a 7-game and 10-day stretch. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's on deck this week. So the Komets are off on Monday. Then Tuesday night, they've got their annual New Year's Eve game as they're going to take on the Bloomington Bison. Meanwhile, you've also got games against Toledo on Friday, at home, and then at Toledo on Saturday. And then Sunday, they will host the Cincinnati Cyclones again. Shane, just what do you feel like is your biggest key for the Komets just to make sure they keep this momentum rolling on very little rest?
Well, don't overlook Bloomington on Tuesday night. It's going to be real easy to look at the showdown with Toledo Friday and Saturday. And depending on what happens on Tuesday, first place could be up for grabs, those two games. So you don't want to look past Bloomington. Bloomington, a tough team. We went to Bloomington, we beat them 2-1. It was a tough matchup in Bloomington, and they are coming off. They had a big Donnybrook against Kalamazoo at home last night as well. So they're certainly not afraid to mix it up as well. And you know what? New Year's Eve is a weird night because you're going to have a packed house. Guys are going to be gripping those sticks, and because you want to have a good game in front of a big crowd like that. So I hope everyone just gets their rest for today and come out fresh on Tuesday. But just don't overlook Bloomington, but get ready for Toledo, and those two games are going to be a lot of fun because even though we love the rivalry with Indy, we know who the real rival is. It's the guys over in the Buckeye State.
Shoot, you talk about the guys needing rest. You need your rest, man. You've had 3 games, 3 days. You have had a lot to talk about over the weekend. We're not going to have you saying much now, but any last thoughts on the Komets as we look ahead to the week?
You know what? This team has got the potential to be really special. I'm really excited to see what the rest of the season has in store. This team has come together. They're so tight. I don't think I've ever seen a group of guys this tight this early in the season, and they are all just laser focused. You've got guys who been around a long time. The Justin Taylor, has never got a chance to really to win a cup. You've got Alex Aliardi, who's won a cup, who knows what it's like. Anthony Petrozelli. You've got these 2 great young goaltenders. This team is a lot of fun to watch. So I would really advise everyone to come out to New Year's Eve. If you haven't done a New Year's Eve game, please do that. I think I've been to every New Year's Eve game since I was 9 years old. So, we're talking 41 years. I've never been at home for a New Year's Eve. So it's a tradition. It's a Fort Wayne tradition. It's one of those things like Thanksgiving. So, I would advise everyone to come on out Tuesday night.
Well, it's certainly a great environment to be a part of. I will be there. Shane Albahrani will be there. And that will do it for your edition of the Komets Corner presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. One last time, he's Shane Albahrani. I'm Josh, and hopefully Glenn Marini will be back in studio next week. But for now, that is all. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of the Komets Corner on Wayne.com.
Komets Corner is presented by Lee's Famous Recipe.